The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. On a personal note, I want to look at this book in retrospect. A while ago, I reviewed Kick-Ass, an audio program that this author did with a bunch of people, just these life-changing sessions. You get to hear their conversations, and it's a very different situation for each person. A while before that, I checked out this book, and if you asked me what I thought of it, I would have told you that I was much more impressed with the actual concept of the 5-second rule than the book itself. I mean, there are stories in this of people using it to talk themselves and others out of suicide attempts. It's very groundbreaking, if you will, but what is it about the 5-second rule that truly warrants like a 7.5-hour long audiobook? Maybe I wouldn't think that now. I'm trying to approach this with more of an open mind. I mean, maybe there's more to the 5-second rule than just count from 5 to 1 and get started, other than the reasoning, which didn't really seem too complicated. Also, I tackled this to a degree, but what is it that separates Mel Robbins from other life coaches in the field other than her kick-ass personal branding? I mean, this lady's personal branding, it's on point. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel, and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, and who doesn't want to make self-growth normal, then make sure to smash that like button. So in this review, you can expect me to talk about those things, the different chapters. I'm going to go over some standout quotes, who I recommend this book to, and what books to maybe check out next. Chapter 1 is 5 seconds to save your life. This is most obviously an intro. Mel Robbins has this charm to her. It's the type that to me seems unnatural, but honestly for a book like the 5-second rule, I think I'd prefer unnatural, if you want to call it that, to someone who's always like that. By the way, for anyone asking, in case I haven't said it already, the rule works. The 5-second rule does work. It works on anything you need to do but haven't. Anything you've been thinking about doing but haven't done yet. So if I tear this book apart for any reason whatsoever, you gotta at least know that I endorse the rule. And how I discovered the 5-second rule, of course, she talks about how she discovered the 5-second rule. Also, let me tell you, Mel is a storyteller. I didn't know that she went from law to radio to media, and then everything went to crap. I didn't know what had started that crap. I didn't remember. I'm not surprised how much it had to do with Fox News. Label me someone who doesn't trust mainstream news sources. It's not even political reasons. If it is, it's nothing close to as much as just bias. I'm convinced there's just too much negativity for me, and I don't want that in my mind. What I also really like is these bits where she says stuff like, you know those moments? Those are the worst, or those are the best. Isn't that just the best? Because it adds a lot of, here, I'm trying to see in a welcoming way how you can relate to my story, to the reading or listening experience. That, and pieces where if you're reading maybe, you can feel the energy rev up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. So stupid, but it actually worked. So stupid, but it did work. I can't believe it. And then I tried the next day and it worked again. And then I tried the next day and it worked again. And what you can expect when you use it, she goes over the prefrontal cortex and the locus of control, the bias toward action, different topics in psychology that pertain to the rule. Before that, she actually lists historical examples of how revolutionary products like sticky notes and the Frappuccino were invented specifically because of the use of the 5-second rule. I love when authors do this. It's like she's using every single platform upon which she can to convince you to believe in the power of the 5-second rule. This lady is selling her butt off in this book, and I don't mean selling in the sense of like, you know, buy this course and you can, well, there are a couple calls to action, but like they're just like offer for like free stuff on her site. If you want some upsells, chances are you could probably go there. The degree of confidence in her ideas and insights, something reminded me in it about, oh my gosh, what was that book called? Didn't See That Coming by Rachel Hollis that I reviewed a couple months ago maybe. And a basic sense of why the rule works is that it shifts your focus from the fear of, oh my gosh, I have to call this customer. What am I going to say? We don't even have what he's looking for. What if he says the price is too high? What if he's working with someone else? What if he is someone else? What if he doesn't speak English? This does happen. What if he says he's not interested? What if he's busy? Hey man, no worries. You know what's more important? Counting from 5 to 1 and then taking action, right? It shifts your lizard brain from what you are thinking about to the human brain, the part of you that's taught to see things as dangerous, to the part of you that doesn't really make you want to see anything. It just kind of moves. There's another chapter, Everyday Courage. on courage, and I will always recommend her work. Brene Brown, author, she's just the ultimate resource. There are different traces of Brown's teachings that I saw in the 5-second rule. The more of them I saw, the later I got into the book. Speaking more on the selling thing, Robbins fires testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. What about Christine? She wants to make love to her husband after work, but she's worried that he's going to reject her. Mark needs to make more sales calls to pass his quota, but he's worried that he won't succeed, so he hesitates time after time and wastes his own time. It requires courage to do these things. Obviously not to hesitate, but to act. And switching from hesitation to acting, even with the smallest things, is like that tiny change that you spark the momentum and you go from there. And your life changes in a way that I'm not sure I can that concisely sum up in a review of this book alone. The next chapter is What Are You Waiting For? I'm pretty sure this audiobook had extended in length from the last time I listened to it. The newer version includes stories. Lots and lots of stories during each chapter of people applying the 5-second rule to master fear of all sorts of things. Did you know people are using this to successfully beat drug addiction? The next chapter is called You'll Never Feel Like It. By this point, I was kind of like, how much of the rest of the book, or at least the next few chapters, is really necessary? At least as much in getting the point across as the first half. And the next chapter is called How to Start Using the Rule. How to start using the rule? Wasn't this stressed earlier in the book? Improving your health. I like this chapter specifically on how the 5-second rule applies to working out, eating healthier, making the right long-term choices for your body, etc. But in increased productivity, basic time management principles are stressed throughout these chapters, like, for example, Parkinson's law, where if you're given a deadline of 8 hours to finish an assignment, and it's an assignment that you can do in 2 hours, you'll somehow find a way. I don't know how, but you will. You'll find a way to do that work over a time span of 8 hours. However, if you're given a deadline of 2 hours to do something that takes 8 hours to do, somehow chances are you're going to find a way to do that 8-hour work in 2 hours. Brian Tracy has said that very successful people are setting tight, stringent, disciplined deadlines on themselves so that they get more work done in a smaller period of time than less work done in a longer period of time. And in end procrastination, there are the differences between positive procrastination and negative procrastination. Granted, the stress that she put on forgiving yourself when it comes to ending procrastination, that was pretty I don't know if I've never heard that anywhere else. But to be honest, I haven't checked out this one guy's book, but I checked out his TED Talk a couple times about it. It splendidly displays some examples of positive versus negative procrastination. The guy named Rory Vaden, I think the book is called Procrastinate on Purpose. Because there are some productive things we will not do because we are occupying our time waiting for them to become more important and more productive to do later on. It's weird. In End Anxiety, there is a concept in this chapter that goes way beyond the 5-second rule. If you've ever had an anxiety attack that was just so terrible that you thought you were gonna die, chances are you've probably been on the other side of that at least once. Chances are you've been so excited before that you just couldn't hold any of it in. It was just impossible to hide all of that. You wanted to share these explosions, butterflies on the inside. You ever notice there's a lot of similarity physiologically between those two states? Mel Robbins has proven time and time again, not just her, but obviously her followers, and I think she explains a couple studies that sort of validate this. The biggest difference between these two things is how you respond to that feeling. No one has doubted this after testing it, by the way. I mean, the idea probably doesn't occur to anyone in this state unless they just know about it. If it does, they're probably a level of crazy that others would consider genius. But all you have to do when you're anxious or nervous is tell yourself over and over and over and over and over again that you're excited. I know this might sound like, oh yeah, well, I'm lying to myself to make myself feel better. That doesn't really work. She explains the psychological reasons why, and again, the whole thing about testimonial after testimonial. But I don't remember the last time I did this, and there are a lot of things like this in the book, and that's a huge reason that I'm so happy to constantly be revisiting books like this one. In Beat Fear, there are other ideas that sort of extend beyond the rule, like anchor thoughts. What is if you're scared of going to someone's house or going to speak, why are you doing it? If you're scared of flying, where are you flying to? What is the significance of that place? And to keeping that in mind, there's just a lot to this book that extends beyond the surface of the rule and what you can use it for. I mean, there are different ways to use the rule and ways to look at things that I haven't heard before in other books, especially the anxiety, excitement type of thing. In Building Real Confidence, she stresses that building real confidence starts with the small things, and then you move forward from there. There are so many stories in this book of other people, some of them about taking bigger leaps, like building up the courage to talk to the president of Cisco about some of your engineering ideas, talking yourself or others out of jumping off a bridge, moving to France alone, dropping out of school to pursue your passion when you're being pressured by your parents to finish those 4 years. Not to mention writing to Mel Robbins about experiences like these. The whole book is it's like 50% puzzle, 50% box. And you open the box and you take the puzzle and you take it apart and you put it back together and then you take it back apart and repeat until these insights and advice are etched into your operating system. There's a lot on pursuing your passion as well. Obviously, again, this speaks to is the second half of this book or so actually entirely necessary for the 5-second rule, or is it just a slew of valuable lessons that Mel has extracted from the stories of her loyal supporters? Part of me thinks it's one, part of me thinks that it's the other, but the biggest part of me after a second listen would probably say that it's both. Quotes. The most obvious realities are the ones that are the hardest to see and talk about. The rule doesn't make these things easy, it makes them happen. At the heart of every moment is a choice. Direction 1. I recommend this book for anyone who wants this self-confidence, this courage that he or she does not have yet, and is looking for that one trick that they can just clamp onto like there's nothing else left that'll just change everything. Direction 2. If you like this book, despite how much it might not seem like they have in common, the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone is amazing. It's amazing. It's my second favorite book ever. If you have anxiety and or depression, and it's really like haunting you right now, then you might want to check out Kick-Ass 2. That's a really, really helpful program. And also maybe Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. It's a lot more practical in my opinion. The other one's more mindset based, Girl Wash Your Face. The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video if you want to check those out too. If you guys buy anything through the links in the description, then I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.